In a world full of men clawing for visibility, the most powerful one is often the man you barely notice, until it hits you that he's been subtly steering the room from the shadows. Behavioral psychology tells us the human brain is conditioned to register loudness while overlooking quiet presence. That's exactly why Sigma males move like ghosts in broad daylight. They don't chase the spotlight, they let it drift toward them. If you've ever walked into a gathering without announcement, spoken only when you felt it mattered, yet left with more sway than the loudest voice there, congratulations. You might already be living by the Sigma code. This isn't about cartoonish mystery or acting like a teenager wearing sunglasses at midnight. It's about a rare breed of man who operates on a frequency most people don't even know exists, let alone can tune into. Today, we're breaking down 12 signs you're not like other men, you're a Sigma male. And here's your warning, if even half of these signs describe you, it may finally explain why you've never fit the mold, and why you never had to. Number 1, you radiate unshakable certainty. When a Sigma male enters a room, something about him feels instantly different. It's not his clothes, his tone, or even his expressions, it's the steady presence, the kind of deep-rooted certainty that doesn't need to be announced, defended, or justified. This certainty is quiet. It doesn't demand attention, yet people sense it instinctively, like the shift in air before a storm. They might not be able to define it, but they feel it, and that impression lingers long after he's gone. Most men, whether they admit it or not, are constantly negotiating their worth, comparing, competing, measuring themselves against others. The Sigma male doesn't play that game, not because he thinks he's superior, but because he has no need to prove anything. His confidence runs on internal benchmarks, not public approval. You can't feed it. You can't take it away. You can't manipulate it. And that unsettles people who are used to getting a reaction. Some will test him, provoke him, or try to charm him, just to see if they can crack that calm composure. But his steadiness isn't an act or a suit of armor, it's the result of years spent knowing exactly who he is and what matters to him. He can accept praise without becoming addicted to it, and face criticism without crumbling. His stability quietly exposes the insecurity of those around him, shifting social dynamics without a single word. People who thrive on control or flattery often become frustrated. He won't follow their emotional scripts. And the irony? He's not using this as a tactic to dominate, it's simply who he is. The magnetic pull is a side effect, not a goal. His stillness forces people to feel the contrast between their own inner noise and his quiet clarity. That wordless comparison can be more powerful than any argument. It's not arrogance, it's rare, grounded self-assurance. The kind that makes you realize some men lead without ever declaring they're in charge. Number 2, you can starve your ego without feeling weak. Most men live tethered to their ego by an invisible leash, and anyone who knows how to tug it can lead them anywhere. Compliments, public recognition, a hint of status, these are the bait, and most will take it. The Sigma male is different. He doesn't run on ego fuel, and that makes him unpredictable. You can't lure him with praise, and you can't trap him in situations he doesn't want just by dangling rewards. This isn't about low self-worth, it's the opposite. His value is so deeply rooted within himself that outside opinions can't inflate or deflate it. That's why he can walk away from a title, a relationship, or a social circle without feeling like he's lost part of himself. If it no longer aligns with him, he leaves. No dramatic speech, no point to prove, just quiet departure. Those who rely on ego-based control often misread him. They assume he simply hasn't been offered the right prize yet, so they keep trying to bait him. But he's not refusing out of stubbornness, he truly doesn't need it. That's when the unsettling truth hits, they have no leverage over him. In a world where men are trained to chase approval and external validation, his detachment from ego-driven rewards gives him rare freedom. He makes decisions from logic, instinct, or principle, unclouded by fear of losing face. And because he's not chasing quick wins, he can play the long game. While others rush toward instant gratification, he's willing to wait, adapt, or walk away entirely if it means staying true to his code. That absence of hunger makes him dangerous, in the best possible way. You can't bribe, flatter, or pressure someone who's already full without your approval. Number 3, you're an outlier. Even in places designed for outliers, there's an irony to how Sigma males fit into the world, they simply don't. And it's not just the conventional world that feels foreign to them. Even when they enter spaces filled with people who pride themselves on being unconventional, rebellious, and different, the Sigma still stands apart. It's as if the universe keeps him tuned to a slightly different frequency. Even among those who claim to be out of step with the mainstream, the difference is subtle but undeniable. Most outsiders unite through their shared rejection of the norm. They've built their identities around not fitting in, often finding comfort in communities of like-minded rebels. But the Sigma male doesn't truly belong there either. He may respect the group, enjoy certain aspects of it, or blend in when necessary, but deep down, he knows he's still not one of them. That's because his individuality isn't a performance or a uniform he puts on to signal difference. It's simply who he is. He doesn't need to advertise it, validate it, or bond over it. While others find solidarity in swapping stories about how they're not like everyone else, the Sigma quietly notices that their rebellion still operates within a collective identity. And collective identity, no matter how rebellious, still comes with unspoken rules and expectations. Those are the very things he instinctively resists. The result? A strange social dynamic. People in these outsider spaces may admire him, but they rarely feel they fully understand him. He seems guided by an internal compass no group can claim. This can create tension. Some find his detachment refreshing, proof that independence can run deeper than labels. Others find it frustrating because his refusal to commit to any tribe makes him hard to place, harder to influence, and impossible to own. Even in a room full of people who pride themselves on being different, the Sigma male stands out, not because he tries harder to be unique, but because he has no interest in measuring uniqueness at all. And that kind of raw independence is rare enough to make even rebels feel a little too predictable in his presence. Number 4, you're calm when you shouldn't be. When chaos erupts, most people panic. Stress and anxiety spread like wildfire, voices rise, nerves fray, and fight or flight takes over. But the Sigma male remains calm, sometimes unnervingly so. In moments when others feel the walls closing in, he's steady, like a rock in a storm. This isn't about suppressing fear or putting on a brave face. It's a deep-rooted steadiness, born from already having processed the situation long before it spirals out of control. That calm draws people in because it feels like an anchor. When everyone else is swept up in the emotional storm, the Sigma's composed presence offers a rare sense of safety, even if he says little or nothing. People instinctively look to him, sometimes without even realizing why. There's an unspoken message in his stillness: I've got this under control, even if the outcome isn't clear yet. But his calm also unsettles certain people, especially those who thrive on tension, drama, or control through chaos. His lack of visible fear breaks their script. They expect emotional reactions, frantic decisions, or obvious signs of stress to read and exploit. When those signals aren't there, they lose their footing. It makes him unpredictable, and, at times, quietly intimidating. This composure isn't an act. It's the result of years spent observing, calculating risk, and mastering himself rather than the situation. He doesn't need to broadcast courage because it's already woven into who he is. That inner calm gives him an edge most men envy but few can replicate. For the Sigma male, being steady when others can't isn't just a personality quirk, it's a strategic advantage. It makes him magnetic to those seeking stability, a wild card to those expecting volatility, and a silent force who stays several steps ahead while everyone else scrambles to catch up. Number 5, you don't flash independence, you embody it. For most men, independence is a badge they pin on, a performance they put on display, or a slogan they repeat until even they start to believe it. It's loud, announced in conversations, plastered on social media, and flaunted like a trophy. The Sigma male doesn't play that game. He doesn't need to signal independence because he lives it so naturally, so seamlessly, that it's almost invisible, until it becomes impossible to ignore. He never has to declare how self-sufficient he is. His actions, decisions, and boundaries speak louder than any self-promoting words ever could. He moves through life without leaning on unearned approval, validation, or support. This quiet self-reliance forces people to approach him differently. They can't treat him like a man who needs to be managed, persuaded, or owned. Because he doesn't perform strength, he avoids the ego traps that come with pretending to be a lone wolf. His autonomy runs deep. It's in every choice he makes, from the projects he pursues to the relationships he maintains. This level of genuine independence unsettles those who rely on predictable roles and fixed hierarchies. When others try to categorize or control him, they quickly realize he's already several moves ahead, living a kind of freedom they only talk about. For the Sigma male, independence isn't a statement, it's the bedrock of his existence. And because it's real, it forces everyone around him to either respect it or step aside. There's no middle ground. He lives his truth, and the rest of the world can either adapt or get left behind. Number 6, you're loyal, but never owned. To a Sigma male, loyalty isn't a casual promise, it's an intentional commitment. If he gives it to you, whether as a friend, partner, or ally, it's because he has measured it carefully and decided you're worth his trust, time, and energy. When he's in, he's all in. He'll show up, stand by you, and never keep score. His loyalty is quiet but unwavering, until the moment it isn't. If loyalty starts to feel like a leash, everything changes. He has zero tolerance for relationships, workplaces, or causes that twist trust into control. The moment someone uses his commitment to manipulate him, through guilt, demands for blind obedience, or accusations of betrayal, he cuts the cord without hesitation. Not out of spite, but out of principle. This is where people misunderstand him. They think loyalty means eternal allegiance, no matter how toxic or one-sided the situation becomes. For him, loyalty must remain mutual and free. If staying loyal means sacrificing his integrity, boundaries, or freedom, then the deal is off. And unlike most, he won't drag it out with drama or endless conversations. The second he sees the leash, he slips away, cleanly, silently, without a backward glance. What unsettles people most is how easily he can walk away. There's no pleading for closure, no theatrical fallout. He simply removes himself and keeps moving forward. And because most people are used to loyalty being something they can exploit, his decisiveness feels like a shock or a betrayal. But here's the truth, if a Sigma male has stayed loyal to you, it's because you never tried to own him, and you respected the independence that makes his loyalty possible. The moment you mistake commitment for captivity, you'll see how fast he can vanish. Not because he stopped caring, but because loyalty without freedom isn't loyalty at all. Number 7, you don't network, you orbit. For most people, networking is a constant hustle, shaking hands, swapping contacts, showing up at every event, and strategically inserting themselves into conversations. It's about chasing opportunities by positioning themselves where they think success will grow. The Sigma male doesn't play that game. He doesn't chase, hover, or work the room. Instead, he moves along his own orbit, an orbit dictated by his priorities, not by the gravitational pull of social expectations. This doesn't mean he's antisocial or disconnected. In fact, people are often drawn to him, but never because he's chasing them. His calm confidence and self-contained energy act like a slow, steady gravitational field. Those who resonate with his frequency naturally drift closer. The crucial difference? He never adjusts his trajectory to make that happen. When most people network, they bend themselves to fit into someone else's circle, mimicking interests, tone, or behavior to gain acceptance. The Sigma does the opposite. If you want to be in his world, you adapt to his standards, pace, and boundaries. This rarity forces people to decide, do they value the connection enough to adjust, or do they drift away? This self-contained orbit is a form of power most overlook. When you don't chase relationships, opportunities, or validation, you're free from the compromises that come with trying to belong. It also means that the people who remain in your life are there out of genuine choice, not because they were flattered, pressured, or manipulated. Over time, people notice the pattern. They see he's not playing the same exhausting networking game. His influence doesn't come from constant visibility or endless outreach, it comes from moving through life with such clarity and autonomy that others willingly adjust their own paths just to stay close. It's not arrogance, it's simply an understanding that gravity works both ways. And when you're in no hurry to enter someone else's orbit, you give them the rare privilege of entering yours, on your terms. Number 8, you spot social choke points and turn them into leverage. Every social environment has invisible bottlenecks, moments when conversations stall, decisions get stuck, or unspoken power struggles quietly unfold. Most people either miss these subtle blockages entirely or try to push through them head-on. The Sigma male is different. He has an uncanny ability to detect these choke points almost instantly, whether it's where influence is clogged, where authority is fragile, or where emotions are quietly destabilizing the group. Once he identifies the pressure point, he doesn't bulldoze through it. Instead, he positions himself so that any shift, be it a decision, a change in dynamics, or the flow of information, naturally passes through him. This isn't about forcing attention, it's about becoming the natural pivot, the quiet axis around which the room eventually turns. He smooths the flow, redirects the energy, and shapes the outcome without ever making a loud play for control. His influence is subtle but absolute, woven seamlessly into the group's functioning. To the untrained eye, it's as if he's both everywhere and nowhere, present in all critical moments without overextending himself. This creates a magnetic pull. People find themselves acknowledging his presence even if they can't explain why. While others openly wrestle for dominance or try to bulldoze through obstacles, he simply waits, then redirects the energy in his favor. The result? He turns social friction into quiet leverage. And depending on where you stand, that makes him either invaluable or dangerous. Few men ever develop this skill, and even fewer wield it with such effortless precision. Number 9, you're a ghost in other people's stories. You drift into people's lives like a shadow, never fully in the spotlight, yet impossible to erase. You don't fit into the roles they expect, not the hero, not the villain, not the sidekick. You're something entirely different, an unseen force that shapes events without being bound to their narrative. People remember you because you leave a mark, yet they can't define exactly what you are. You move on your own terms, untouched by the drama and expectations that trap others. This makes you magnetic and maddening at the same time, intriguing because you don't play by the usual social rules, but frustrating because no one can predict you. Your influence is subtle but undeniable, decisions shift, dynamics change, and the atmosphere bends around you, yet you never announce your role. You exist both everywhere and nowhere, free from the boundaries that confine most people. This gives you liberty, but also distance. Even long after you're gone, people will talk about you, trying to decode your presence. It's one of the Sigma male's rarest strengths, the ability to influence without attachment. You don't need to be center stage to change the story, you simply pass through like a whisper, altering everything in your wake. Number 10, you don't chase recognition, but you see who's watching. Most men hunger for applause, likes, and validation, desperate to be noticed. The Sigma male is different. He doesn't care about the spotlight, not out of arrogance, but because his worth isn't dependent on public approval. Yet, here's the twist, while indifferent to noise and praise, he's highly aware of the quiet observers. These are the ones who watch silently, who value authenticity over performance, who see the depth that others miss. He doesn't alter his behavior for them, but he knows they're the ones whose judgment truly matters. The loud crowd might drown out wisdom, but the silent watchers recognize consistency and depth. Their unspoken approval carries more weight than 1,000 claps. This awareness gives him strategic social intelligence. He knows when to step forward, when to withdraw, and when to simply exist without explanation. True power doesn't come from the applause, it comes from being seen by the right eyes, even if they never say a word. Number 11, you're immune to the herd's urgency. When panic spreads, over news, trends, or causes, most people rush to join the crowd. The Sigma male steps back. He watches, analyzes, and asks, is this real urgency, or just emotional momentum? He knows the difference between true crisis and manufactured frenzy. While others act on impulse, he chooses strategic patience. This calm detachment unsettles people, they mistake it for defiance or apathy, but in reality, it's discipline. He refuses to be swept into reactionary chaos. By resisting tribal urgency, he preserves clarity, avoids needless mistakes, and acts only when it serves his values. This gives him a rare kind of freedom, the ability to move with precision when others are blinded by the rush. Number 12, you guard your true self by default. People often believe they've gotten to know someone after enough time together. The Sigma male knows better, he reveals only what he chooses. The rest stays locked away. He offers glimpses, fragments carefully chosen to suit the moment, but the deeper layers remain hidden unless sharing them serves a purpose. This isn't secrecy for its own sake, it's control. Every revelation is weighed against its potential impact. Because of this, he's never truly exposed or vulnerable in the way most people are. Others might spill their inner world for connection or validation, but he shares on his own terms, creating an air of mystery that draws people in while keeping them at a distance. In a world addicted to oversharing, this restraint is power. He owns his narrative. No one else does. Final word. The Sigma male walks a path few can follow, one defined by independence, quiet influence, and an unwavering commitment to authenticity. He doesn't seek permission to act, validation to lead, or noise to feel important. His strength is in moving with purpose, shaping the world without demanding its recognition. If these traits resonate, it's not just a label, it's a way of living. To stand apart not because you want to, but because you must. To influence without chasing. To lead without demanding followers. Strength here is not loud, it's embodied. Power is not performed, it's lived. And the Sigma's greatest weapon is not dominance, but the quiet certainty that he moves on his own terms.